Hey everyone, this is Bobo from the Mari server. I'm here to do a video on a very special request from a good friend of mine asking for some Mabinogi gameplay and exactly what Mabinogi is. So for those that are wondering why I play this game, sit tight and enjoy the Mabinogi world. So I noticed on YouTube a lot of the Mabinogi reviews and gameplay are mostly covered in the beginning areas of Mabinogi, and that makes the most sense because the reviewers won't go, further on into Mabinogi unless they're really into it. So I'm gonna do my review and gameplay a little bit different and show you guys all the areas of Mabinogi, not just the beginning, but the middle and the end, so you guys get a general idea of what you can get from Mabinogi. And just like in any MMO, no matter what, you guys are going to start off with absolutely nothing. So in Mabinogi, you just pretty much start off with the bare minimum of outfit with shoes and nothing in your inventory, absolutely nothing. You're not going to have any of these fancy bags or whatnot. You're just going to have absolutely nothing. None of these pets that you see on the left, none of these skills that you see on the top or in the tabs. You actually have no skills whatsoever, and you have to gain them later on in the game. The only skills you probably will see are the ones that you obtain from your talent. There also will be transformation and demigod skills that you can get later on in the game when you complete the storyline quest. Speaking of quests, there's lots of quests when you start out. There's going to be lots of tutorial quests, definitely, and lots of daily quests that you may see, and some basic quests, which I have no idea what these quests are. They're just random quests. And of course, skill quests that relate to skills, I guess, your actual skills that you rank up. And last but not least, of course, the main story generation quests, and probably some saga quests on the side somewhere on the right if you guys start it. I know a lot of people that look at Mabinogi will first say, man, this game is so kawaii desu, and it's like not just that, guys. Mabinogi actually has a pretty deep storyline to it, and sometimes it's so deep that even I don't even get it. I get lost in the story sometimes, and I have to rewatch it or redo it just to kind of understand it. Mabinogi is basically a South Korean game distributed by Nexon and developed by DevCat Studios, and it's a game that focuses on Celtic mythology. So it's a very interesting story how they bring that mythology into the game, as well as modernized stuff. I can't really explain it, with things like scooters, pianos, and whatnot. It's all over the place in this game. It's not just like back in the day fantasy, medieval style. I mean, honestly, this game literally has everything. So there are several types of weapons you guys can have in Mabinogi. Obviously, you can get a lance, you can be an alchemist with like a cylinder in one hand and a guard cylinder in the other, and basically be able to cast elemental skills. You can be a warrior and equip either a single weapon, two-handed weapon, or if you want to be adventurous, you can equip a single weapon with a shield, or dual wield two weapons. And yes, you can have guns. There's actually guns in this game, guys. You can also hold a staff and attack with advanced magic spells, such as Meteor, does a huge heavy amount of damage, and things like Thunder and I guess Ice Spear, a lot of advanced magic spells. But if you're into the more smaller, quick bolted spells, you can equip a wand and do chain casting, or you can equip a wand and a shield. And if you're adventurous, you can equip a wand and a guard cylinder and use alchemy and magic together. So this game does not limit you in a specific class. You can actually mix and match and go with whatever style you like. In fact, it's actually recommended that you do that because there's no way anybody can be pure of anything. There's also music skills, yes, music related skills that can be used in combat, and martial arts related skills, fighting with knuckles. So it's like for those people who want to be a fighter, like, Dragon Ball Z style, there you go, there's your wish right there. There's also puppetry skills where you can control a marionette, a huge marionette actually, or a tiny girl, which hopefully is alive when you summon them. Another option that you can be is a ninja, so you can hold shrinkins and do a bunch of different awesome looking ninja skills. Like I said, this game has every single thing I can think of. You can also be an archer, and I know it looks funny in this video right here. I'm holding a banana bow. Yes, it's a banana bow. That basically is a thing in Mabby, that they have a lot of funny, fun equipments that you can use in the game. So like very useless things too, like this spatula. Skateboards. Like they're all for fun. They're not just, you know, for actual combat. You know, umbrellas that you can skip and jump in. They're really cute. You can also transform into animals if you wish, and sometimes people use it to move from one place to another faster if they don't have a pet. Transformation is not the only thing that has a lot of collection stuff, but there's also a cooking collection journal thing, a fishing collection, a hunting collection, a taming collection. There's a lot of things you can collect in this game, and when I say collect, I do mean collect. As you can see right here, clothes. Fashion is a really big thing in Mabinogi. Mabinogi is huge in customization, in fashion. I mean, there's so much outfits and hats and whatnot in this game. There is no way that people will be like always wearing the same thing, unless it's like the new outfit that everybody wants and they just want to wear it. Most of the clothes in Mabinogi have several parts that you can dye, mostly at max 3, some 2. Hats, shoes, gloves, they're all the same too. There are several parts that you can dye, so you can actually choose and customize specifically the color that you prefer. So this game is very, very customizable for a free-to-play game. Now, one thing that they don't give Mabinogi too much credit for is the night and day system, the weather system. It's something that is part of the environment in Mabinogi that people don't notice too much, but I have, and I just want to give them a thumbs up on it. There's not too many games that focus on this. I mean, they made this very realistic to the point that you actually do see it turning from night to day, and you see the sunset. Like literally there is a glare in your face in a certain angle when you turn your camera, and you can see the lights light up at night, you know, or they dim in the morning. And weather is a thing. It's actually a thing. Sometimes people don't even have any weather in any MMO, but Mabby does actually have a weather system. Mostly, unfortunately, it's just rain, but it actually happens, and you see it rain in the area that you're playing. And it does have a role in the game. I mean, it helps with production and whatnot, but it's a thing that people don't notice, and it's actually very nice. Now, one of the first things that I really liked about Mabinogi when I first played was just immersing myself into the environment, actually being able to interact with everything in the game. Like, for example, if you want to share that sheep that's just standing right there, you can share that sheep. Equip a gathering knife, touch that sheep. I know it sounds funny when I say that, and you can share it. You can hit that barrel if you wanted to. It's your fantasy life. You can do whatever you want. Hit that barrel, get some gold. Like, that makes sense, right? Cut that tree. Like, get some firewood, and then like eventually the tree will say you can't cut me anymore. And then you can use that firewood and turn it into a campfire, which you can put anywhere that's available for, you know, a campfire guest. There has to be space, of course. And obviously it makes no sense to have a campfire in the rain, but whatever, it's your fantasy life. You can do whatever you want. You can even burn things into the fire, like burn that bouquet that your ex gave you. I mean, like, seriously, why do you have to keep that? Honestly, though, I have to say that the campfire was one of the most amazing things that I liked when I first played Mabinogi. I mean, you can see the light project onto your character from the campfire. I mean, you can even run away from the campfire and not worry about Smokey the Bear. He's not going to give you a big deal about that campfire because they'll go out. But if you're worried, you can always fill your, you know, bottle with some water down up the stream, you know, wherever you can gather water with a sign that says a cup with water in it. until you realize that you can't actually use that to put out a fire and you can only drink with it. So you end up being a fisherman and you start to fish at the nearby stream and play a little fishing game and struggle with, keeping little fish in the box, and you get a nice fish, and you realize, what I'm going to do with this fish? I gotta cook with this fish, so now I gotta be a chef. So you give up with life and then you drop everything on the floor. I mean, that's, your choice. Fantasy life, you can drop whatever you want on the floor. No one's gonna give you a big deal about it. There's no litter cop in Mabinogi. Mabinogi has so many fun little things. I mean, if you want to throw a paper airplane, you can throw a paper airplane, even though it doesn't land too far. You can roll a dice and start like a dice game with your friends or something. That's little things here and there you can just do. You can throw a rock and get gold off a box. But apparently that's a thing. And you can punch bushes. Punch that bush, get a berry and branch or something. I mean, this game is very interactive with its environment. Like, almost everything you can interact with. Like, berries, just eat that berry. You can actually eat that berry that just fell off the bush. And it actually does affect your character's weight. Your character can change in looks. It can get fatter or thinner. You can harvest, like, barley, or you can harvest wheat. And you can actually cook with the stuff. So it's very fun, actually, in terms of just the production stuff. You can gather corn if you want to. You can gather like eggs from any hen that you see in the area. It's not just one specific hen or that specific hen. It's like every single thing. Gather milk from a cow, all used for cooking, of course. Mabinogi is known to give players just that freedom to casually play. I mean, you can dig potatoes, you can dig for seashells, or, shellfish. Or you can look for treasure. There is actually artifact investigation, and you can find treasure. I mean, this could be your goal, to be like best treasure hunter in the world and find artifacts that will give you lots of gold and whatnot. I mean, like, that is a goal, right? Everyone has their own goal in every game. I mean, your choice is your choice. So you can take that artifact over to Voight in Core and get it restored, but if he does a bad job, then you can restore it yourself, unless you actually do a bad job and fail to. So instead, from there, you're just probably gonna end up going into finding gold through metallurgy, sifting for gold in the shore, but in the end, it's like a failure too, because all you probably will get is all those unknown ore fragments for, I don't know, making dyes. So that's when you decide to become a musician, playing in the streets, in the cold, in the rain. So much work. And then you realize that you actually don't have an actual audience. Yeah. Your Mabinogi goal then turns into law enforcement, and you decide to hunt outlaws instead. So if you go to the outlaw board, you can actually find some outlaws that you can hunt down and return ducats that were stolen. So it's a little fun thing. You can run into bandits and then like fight them and then like pew pew, and then eventually you start to realize it's a mistake. Oh my god, so tanky. But from there, after fighting the bandits, you probably notice like they drop those ruthless bandit badges, and those are just things that are rewards that you turn into the trade merchant. So from there you're like, oh, what is this? What is this for? It's actually for commercing. So commercing, not really something that people tend to like to do. It's a little bit tedious, but it's super easy, but it's, again, tedious. So basically all you do for commercing is transport goods from one town to another, gain some love from that town that you're transporting. As long as you get there safely with your stuff, you will be rewarded some ducats, of course. Unfortunately, it is very long. I mean, in this video right now, you can see me just kind of fast forwarding it. You're not really gonna move this fast in the game. If you did, everybody would be doing commercing, trust me. But commercing is good for also newer players that don't have a mount. They can use commercing as a way to transport from one town to another. Though I don't know why they would do that if there is 24-hour moon gates right now. But regardless, commercing is a good thing to have because there are some things that you cannot buy unless you spend ducats. And for those players who commerce, they're at advantage, because for those people who cannot commerce or will not commerce, will have to pay those players that do commerce gold. Now when you arrive in Tara, maybe your interest will change and you'll be like, I don't want to do commerce anymore, I want to be a fashionista. So then you can play on the fashion show thing, and you know, it's a little DDR game. I mean, DDR and fashion work side by side, right? Yeah. And then you can do jousting. I mean, like, if you don't want to be a fashionista anymore, let's go into combat. It's a little kind of rock, paper, scissors game here that is like kind of fun jousting tournament style, and they do have actual tournaments on specific days. Maybe after that you'll be motivated to become an adventurer out into the world continent of area, traveling with hot air balloons. But to be honest, hot air balloons are not for traveling. They're just basically used for specifically fighting the wyverns in this area for some other quest thing that you guys can do later. But it's a very cute and fun thing to do with your friends. Not to mention, rafting is great too. There's a daily rafting thing, of course, and people love to do rafting for exploration. So yeah, that is another thing that you can do. Maybe you want to be another adventurer going down the rapids, fighting everything that's in your face, leaving no goblin alive behind, and getting all those stars that you can actually redeem for rewards at one of the raft points, I guess, if you call them that. So yeah, that's basically a thing you can do in Mabinogi. But the most common thing that you can do in Mabinogi, obviously, is dungeoning. There are dungeons in the game, lots and lots of dungeons, different kinds of dungeons, where you can just go in and kill things, take the key, go to the next room, unlock the next room after that, until you finally reach the awesome boss room at the end. Now definitely since the beginning of Mabinogi, they've made dungeons a little bit harder. They made them enemies a little bit more tankier. Normally this boss I could have just killed with one shot, but now it's a little bit harder. So for players out there that want a challenge, this is a decently challenging game for you. At the end of the dungeon, you'll definitely, of course, receive a reward, but I'm not going to promise you that it is a good reward, because the rewards in Mabby have notoriously been crappy. It's plain and simple, crappy. So in the end, the most common thing people do would be shadow missions, very similar to dungeons, except it's kind of like an outdoor environment, fighting against some shadow monsters. The shadow missions are actually more interesting than the dungeons, because they're not just your simple going from room to room kind of deal. You have to do certain things in the actual shadow mission to clear it, and it's not bad. And then you can, interact with the environment, like, cut that tree. I mean, just because you're in a dungeon doesn't mean you can't do production stuff. I mean, Mabinogi is very open in what you can do, so some people get creative with their skills everywhere they go. And of course, once you're done killing the boss in the shadow mission, you will get a end shadow mission reward. Very similar to a dungeon, but a little bit different. Because the shadow mission, you can actually choose the difficulty, so it caters to various levels of players. Now maybe after doing so many dungeons and so many dailies and so many shadow missions, it has motivated you into becoming a hero. So yes, sometimes you might find some stressful players in need of your assistance, and you have that opportunity and that ability to help them. So there will be, yes, field bosses occasionally. Some people don't really care about them, but they do exist, and you can fight them. And they do drop stuff. These are kind of what you would consider as raid monsters. Most common ones, of course, would be the dragons, but the little ones you guys can probably just kill off on your own. Now for these raid quote-unquote bosses, will drop a reward for anybody that have attacked the raid boss, so it's a good win for everyone. Now after a long day of hard work, I'm pretty sure you want to relax and stay stress-free into your home. Housing, people are kind of curious about housing in Mabinogi, and housing is like this. You can buy furniture, you can buy curtains and whatnot and place it in your house. But here's the thing, guys, housing is not what it all seems. Housing is just literally a room where people just throw down their junk and sell it on the housing board. Honestly, housing's not what you expected. But the real housing here at Mabinogi is called a homestead. So for a homestead, you don't start off with a huge homestead like this. Eventually you have to grow it and make it bigger. But basically a homestead is a private place that only you have access to. You can also give access to your friends or to your guildies or even to anybody that can right click you and say, I want to go to this person's homestead and check it out. But it's a place that you can decorate with a bunch of stuff like, you know, trees, fences, Iweka, moons, things from events. A lot of events give homestead stuff, so that's mostly why you see those little tree seeds in shops. They're basically homestead items. And then you can also grow your own herbs and whatnot. I think this is one of the most popular things that people first used homesteads for, was to be able to grow their own herbs and use like their own production stuff in their homestead, so that way they don't have to go all the way to Bangor or all the way to Dunbarton or wherever, or all the way to Talatine to use an oven. It's all in one place and it's convenient, of course. Now honestly, my video is mostly covering just the tip of the iceberg of Mabinogi. There's a lot more other things in Mabinogi, events and a lot of dungeons that I can't really all cover in one video. So feel free to check out my other videos on my channel and see more of it. Thanks you guys for watching, and like always guys, please stay awesome and play Mabinogi.